watching GW News Recap. I'm your anchor Azin Jamir, bringing to you the top stories of the week. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Nagaland police has withdrawn its order directing the closure and suspension of coaching centers operating without registration under the guidelines for registration and regulation of coaching centers in the state of Nagaland 2025. The Nagaland government has imposed a one-year ban on the manufacture, processing, packaging, storage, transportation, distribution and sale of all food products containing tobacco or nicotine across the state. What began as a satirical online response to remarks attributed to the Chief Justice of India escalated into a street protest in the national capital, with Cockroach Janta Party founder Abhijit Dipke leading demonstrations demanding the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan over alleged examination irregularities. FIFA has agreed a late media rights deal with India's Zee Entertainment for the 2026 FIFA World Cup as the tournament kept ready for kickoff. And now the news in details. Nagaland police has withdrawn its own order directing the closure and suspension of coaching centers operating without registration under the guidelines for registration and regulation of coaching centers in the state of Nagaland 2025. In a corrigendum issued, Additional Director General of Police Law and Order informed the Commissioner of Police, Dimapur, and Superintendents of Police across the state that the June 5 order on the suspension of unregistered coaching centers has been kept in abeyance and withdrawn with immediate effect until further orders. The corrigendum stated that the decision was taken following a further review of the matter. However, the police directed owners and operators of coaching centers concerned to obtain the necessary permissions and approvals from the competent authorities in accordance with the prescribed guidelines. The withdrawn order had directed the immediate closure of coaching centers found to be operating without valid registration under the state's regulatory framework for coaching centers. With the latest directive, coaching centers affected by the earlier order will not face suspension for the time being, pending further instructions from the authorities. The Nagaland government has imposed a one-year ban on the manufacture, processing, packaging, storage, transportation, distribution and sale of all food products containing tobacco or nicotine across the state. An order issued by the Commissioner of Food Safety said the ban has been enforced in the interest of public health and in compliance with the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006, relevant regulations and directions of the Supreme Court. The ban covers all forms of gutka, pan masala, flavored and scented chewable products, as well as any other food items containing tobacco or nicotine. It also applies to packaged and unpackaged products sold separately but intended to be mixed or consumed together by users. The Health and Family Welfare Department said the widespread consumption of such products poses serious health hazards, particularly among children and young adults. The government said the measure aims to protect public health and curb the use of harmful tobacco-based food products in the state. 3 people were killed and 7 houses were reduced to ashes in a suspected militant attack on Loipol Kulen village in Manipur's Kangpokpi district on June 5, according to Kuki in Manipur, the apex body representing the Kuki-Zo tribes in the state. The incident comes against the backdrop of more than 3 years of ethnic tensions and violence in Manipur. In a statement issued on June 5, KIM alleged that heavily armed cadres of NSCNIM and its proxy outfit ZUFK attacked the village at around 4 a.m. The organization said the assault killed 3 civilians, destroyed 7 houses and caused extensive damage to civilian properties. Condemning the incident, Kim described the assault as a barbaric act of violence against unarmed civilians and said the deliberate killing of innocent people and destruction of homes constituted a serious violation of human dignity and fundamental human rights. GIM called on the government of India and security agencies to launch an immediate investigation into the incident, apprehend those responsible and ensure justice is delivered without delay. It also urged authorities to strengthen security in vulnerable villages to prevent further attacks on civilians. The incident comes against the backdrop of more than 3 years of ethnic tensions and violence in Manipur. The conflict that began in May 2023 after clashes between the Meitei and Kuki-Zo communities following protests over the Meitei communities demanded for scheduled tribe status. The violence quickly spread across the state, leading to widespread killings, arson and displacement. According to various official and media estimates cited over the course of the conflict, more than 250 people have been killed and around 60,000 people displaced since the unrest erupted in May 2023. Large numbers of people from both communities continue to live in relief camps while several districts remain divided along ethnic lines. Although the intensity of violence has reduced compared with the early months of the conflict, sporadic gun attacks, ambushes and clashes continue to be reported from parts of Kangpokpi, Imphal East, Churachandpur and other districts of the state. Domestic cooking gas LPG price has been raised by Rs 29 per cylinder, marking the second increase in 3 months as state-owned fuel retailers continue to grapple with elevated global energy costs. The increase follows a Rs 60 per cylinder hike on March 7 after the conflict in the Middle East disrupted global energy supplies and drove up international fuel prices. Industry sources said that the increase had only partly offset losses incurred on domestic LPG sales. State-run oil marketing companies were estimated to be losing about 703 on every LPG cylinder sold before the latest revision. The LPG price hike comes amid a broader round of fuel price increases. Petrol and diesel prices have been raised by a cumulative Rs 7.50 per litre since mid-May, while compressed natural gas rates have been increased by Rs 6 per kg. Despite the recent increases, oil companies continue to sell petrol and diesel below cost, incurring losses of around Rs 11 per litre on petrol and Rs 33.6 per litre on diesel, according to the industry sources. The government has so far avoided a full pass-through of higher international energy prices to consumers, absorbing part of the increase through state-owned fuel retailers as global crude oil and fuel markets remain volatile. What began as a satirical online response to remarks attributed to the Chief Justice of India spilled onto the streets of the capital yesterday, 3 weeks later, with Cockroach Janata Party founder Abhijit Tipke leading a protest to demand the resignation of Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan over alleged irregularities in examinations. While the protest passed off peacefully, with scores in attendance, CJP said it would wait for a week for the centre to sack Pradhan or seek his resignation. Supporters had started gathering outside Parliament Street police station by then, and repeated announcements were made by the police asking them to shift to Chandra Mandar. Heavy police deployment, including RAF personnel and multiple layers of barricades, were put in the place around the area. Characterized as a Gen Z movement, the protests at Chandra Mandar, however, drew people across generations. Elderly citizens, professionals and farmers' children travelled from different states to participate. Environment activist Sonam Wangchuk was also present alongside CJP members and supporters. BJP called it negative politics, while Congress said its youth wing had done much more for the cause of the students. FIFA has agreed a late media rights deal with India's Zee Entertainment for the 2026 FIFA World Cup as the tournament gets ready for kickoff. Zee will air live games across its recently launched United Sports linear television channels and streaming platform Z5. The agreement, which includes the 2030 FIFA World Cup, is expected to exceed $40 million GeoStar. The joint venture between Disney Star and Reliance Viacom 18 made a final offer of $15 million for the 2026 World Cup before withdrawing from discussions. Meanwhile, Sony, which broadcast the 2014 and 2018 editions, reportedly held talks but opted not to lodge a bid. The merger between Disney and Reliance's Indian broadcast operations has significantly reduced competition for media rights, while the time difference between North America and Asia will make it challenging to attract large audiences and monetize the rights through subscriptions and advertising, especially with just days to go before the tournament starts. India has never qualified for a World Cup, but it is a major source of viewership. FIFA claimed linear digital and social content featuring the 2022 FIFA World Cup reached 746 million people in the South Asian country, with linear coverage watched by 83.8 million people and streaming attracting a further 84.9 million viewers. In addition to two men's World Cups, Z will now be the home of 39 FIFA events until 2034, with its 8-year deal also including the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup and other competitions spanning futsal and youth soccer categories. The FIFA deal marks a new catalyst for its sports rights portfolio after it previously sold off its 10 Sports network to Sony for US $385 million in 2016. Z has since shown the UAE-based International League T20 cricket competition for the past 5 years as it looks to obtain sports content to drive audience engagement and advertising revenues. Z recently launched Unite 8 in preparation for the rights. The network comprises 2 Hindi language and 2 English language linear channels. Beyond soccer and cricket, Unite 8 will show kabaddi, badminton, wrestling and combat sports. Well, that's it for this week's news recap, and for more news like this, you stay connected to Global Window.